a quick introduction?
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome everybody, and especially our host today. It's really exciting to have the Visible Wiki Women with us in SHL online digital media Digital Methods Accelerator. So my name's Alice Eldridge. I'm one of 5 co-directors at the University of Sussex Digital Humanities Lab. We are what's now called a Centre of Excellence at the University of Sussex, and we're a space rooted in digital humanities, but we catalyse research into the ecological, social and cultural possibilities and potentials, as well as impacts of an increasingly digital world. So we work across arts, media, humanities, social, computing and human sciences, and we carry out research, training, community building, and also provide a physical space for people who are interested in this kind of area. We always work very collaboratively, both within and beyond academic disciplines, because we are ultimately interested in positive change in the world. And we work across creative practice, as well as philosophy, history, media archaeology, and always action, always thinking about how this can make positive change in the world, with an emphasis on sustainability and justice. And we have very strong feminist and increasingly Indigenous perspectives. Coupled with that, our theme for 2025 is data justice. So you could not be more on point. We're really thrilled to invite to welcome you today to our Digital Methods Accelerator. If any of you haven't been to these before, this is a series of in-person and online events, which is designed to develop practical as well as critical thinking for researchers in the digital humanities and beyond. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we really look forward to finding out more about your project.
Oh, is it our turn?
Sorry, over to you, Sunshine and Mariana. I didn't do a regular hand over there. Really sorry.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Sunshine. I work at Whose Knowledge, and I'm African feminist lawyer and activist from Uganda. Hi, good evening from Kampala. And at Whose Knowledge, I coordinate our Visible Wiki Women campaign together with my colleague Mariana, who is our coordinator for our Decolonizing Wikimedia project that you'll be hearing more from shortly. Mariana, do you want to introduce yourself first before I ramble?
Yes, thank you, Sunshine. Hello, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. My name is Mariana. I am based in Uruguay, South America. English is a second language for me. Just for letting you know. And I work with Sunshine. We share the leadership on decolonizing Wikimedia program. I am part of the Decolonizing Wikimedia program at Whose Knowledge. And yes, and I am a feminist from South America, a sociologist, and enthusiast of technology, open source, an activist and an advocate for open and free knowledge and for decolonizing open knowledge.
Right. So at Whose Knowledge, we we are a community of feminists from majority of the world. So our team is spread across. We are, I think, from about maybe 13 or 14 different parts of the world. Majority of the world: Asia, Africa, Latin America. Some people in the global north. And we have 4 main programs. One that Mariana and I are part of is the one on decolonizing Wikipedia, and I'll go in depth about that in a little bit. We also have a program on language justice, especially the languages of the internet that are not fully representative of the languages in the world. We have our work on liberatory archives and memory, trying to politicize the work of our archives and keeping memories, and also just the work of ensuring that our archives are safe, especially in a digital world that is constantly changing, that is captured by capitalism, and also in a world where we are constantly facing war and our archives are essentially damaged and are targets of all kinds of violence. Then we have our program on honoring our guardians, which is our work with Indigenous women from all over the world, just to listen to their knowledges and try to be able to organize with them around issues of climate justice and other issues around technology and language and knowledge, all of the things. But it's our program that is led and informed by Indigenous communities all over the world. And yeah, so more on Wikipedia and why we care so much about Wikipedia. These are just statistics that we thought we might share with you on like some research that has happened over the last few years, speaking about like languages and the fact that 130 million books on Google Books, for example, are only in 480 languages. Of course, English has like superiority over most languages, but you find that most languages that are spoken in the world, from majority of the world, are not represented in books, and therefore the almost like -7% of the world's knowledge via languages is in books. And Wikipedia also values knowledge that is in books as a form of verification, as a form of notability. So the absence of our languages in those spaces keeps us outside of open knowledge like Wikipedia. And also most of the world's knowledge is oral, it's visual, and it's embodied, and it's not textual. And therefore, for the people in the world whose knowledge is not written in text, it means that their knowledge and their languages are missing. Next slide, Amiga. So these are also statistics we will share. I don't want to go too much into that. We can go to the maybe one interesting thing around most users are in those are the top languages for websites, for scholarly publications, for journals. Those are some of the numbers. They could need an update, but those are the numbers from, I think, maybe 2022, when we did our Decolonizing the Internet convening. So next slide, please, Amiga. So Wikipedia, the best of the internet, not yet the best of humanity. We love Wikipedia tools knowledge. I mean, it's open source, it's open knowledge, anybody can contribute. It's all of the things that it's aspirational in that sense. So at Whose Knowledge, we use Wikipedia as a proxy of like, it's a free knowledge project, but you can see also that it's still not representative of our humanity. So we have about 300 active languages in Wikipedia, 1 billion unique devices visit every month, and only 10% of Wikipedia articles are women, or Wikipedia editors rather are women or non-binary folks. And then around 20% of public knowledge is produced on or by people from the Global South, which means majority of the knowledge that is produced on Wikipedia is from the Global North. And that means that majority of the contributors, who also are majority of the volunteers who do this work, are also from there. So we will be talking about like what that means for data, for the biases within knowledge and stuff like that. Next slide. So why do we care about Wikipedia this much? It's because what is in Wikipedia travels. So Wikipedia provides the data for most of our search engines, because the information is verified and it's usually relevant. One of the jokes that we are constantly making at Whose Knowledge is when like a big or a celebrity or someone very popular dies, there's always like a Wikipedian who runs to go change that information immediately. Like almost in a second of that person's being announced, or like something changing in their circumstances. Maybe they got a divorce, maybe there's always someone so quick to go and change that information. So it's the biggest online free and open information database. That information is used by content providers in search engines in Google. Recently, we're doing an exercise with our images within Visible Wiki Women, where you search the name of the person, of the image in Google, in the Google search, and like their image on Wikipedia is the first thing that on Wikimedia Commons is the thing that comes up first. So, which means that all the inequalities that we know are true of the internet, that exist on Wikipedia, then travel to other parts of the internet. All the biases, all the missing information, everything that we know from our work, and that all of us know about the internet being however it is, it comes up because Wikipedia is also systemically biased in that way. So from Wikipedia to the World Wide Web, or from our current and historical contexts to Wikipedia to the World Wide Web. Next slide, please. Okay, so visualizing the gender gap. So this is where we come in, us of the Visible Wiki Women campaign. So what is the Visible Wiki Women campaign? The Visible Wiki Women campaign is a global feminist campaign that we run every year. So it runs from April to April every year. That is about bringing images of women who are Black, who are brown, who are queer, who are Indigenous, who are trans, from everywhere in the world, but mostly from the global majority to Wikimedia Commons, and then and then also to the broader internet. So when you look at the gap, the gender gap on Wikipedia, this is slightly older data, but I think it's 2018 or 2019 data. We are working on updating it, but during that time, and what we are currently working with is this understanding that only less than 25% of biographies of women, of biographies on Wikipedia, are biographies of women, and even less than that, those articles are less than 20% articles of women on Wikipedia have images. So our work is really trying to contribute to closing this gender gap. But it's not just about the absence of images, it's also the absence of proper data regarding those images, and where then our conversation around structured data and Wikidata comes in. The absence of this knowledge then means those gaps are also very glaring within the larger ecosystem of the internet. So yeah, next slide, please. Oh, okay, so over the years, so we've been running this campaign since 2018. I have been coordinating it since 2022. Mariana was the coordinator before that, and Pamela. Pamela is our friend and contributor, still our contributor. So we've done 7 editions, and we have uploaded more than 20,000 images and counting. We have done this with partners who are feminist organizations. So you don't have to be a Wikipedian. You can just be a cultural institution, a Wikipedia editor, a user group, a chapter, a gallery, anybody anyway who can give us images of women that are open source that we can add to our campaign. We welcome them. We've developed resources kit on how to do that. We have supported a couple of organizers across the world to be able to also organize their own versions of the Visible Wiki Women campaign, and that's how we carry on every year. So I will cede space to Mariana to take us through the structured data aspects of this, and then we will take some questions. Yeah. So thank you.
Sorry, thank you, Sunshine. So after many years doing this campaign and inviting people to release free images, free from copyright restrictions, that way we can use it on Wikipedia, we started to reflect about what does it mean to collect such a number of images and actually to create a data set of images. The images of visible wiki women, you can use them on Wikipedia articles, but they are stored in a platform called Wikimedia Commons, which is the multimedia library that store all the images you can find on Wikipedia and more, much more. You can find millions of images, open, free images available for everyone to use. And our Visible Wiki Women campaign happens there on Wikimedia Commons, which is collaborative, is open, and the Wikimedians that collaborate on Wikimedia Commons, we can also categorize the images, organize our collections, label the collections. Are they other data, metadata, descriptions? And we started to reflect about that and to reflect about the politics of this work, which is not only bring visual content, but also add all the surrounding information about these visual representations. And we started wondering about exactly what it says in this quote from Kate Crawford and Trevor Paglen paper about excavating AI and the politics of images, who gets to decide what images mean and what kind of social and political work those representations perform. Because we know that big data sets of images like Wikimedia Commons and in Wikimedia Commons, smaller or sub-data sets like the Visible Wiki Women can be used for training, for AI training and for other uses. So all the data and all the categorization, the file naming, all of that has an impact, and we can do a political reading of that. So what does images data set got to do with Visible Wiki Women? Because we are helping to contribute thousands of images to Wikimedia Commons that can be used on Wikipedia, but also beyond. In the campaign allows us to make this reflection and also experiment to better understand issues around visual and data gender gaps, but also accessibility, multilinguality, categorization of images and biases in this work. And these are the questions we do many times, all the time. Whose stories are told through images, data sets, and metadata? Whose system of categorizations are in place? Who is the storyteller and the curator? And on Wikimedia Commons, if you participate in a campaign like Visible Wiki Women, or you became a contributor of images, you are invited to be the storyteller and the curator. You are invited to do it yourself and in conversation with others and in discussion with the community, how these images are categorized and described. Because this is a collaborative work and open to everyone. But we still need to do this question. Even when there is no central authority doing this work, is crowdsourced, is collective, we know that the biases, the gaps, the misrepresentation is there, is still there. And it also comes from the original sources of knowledge also, from books, from archives, from the perspective of images creators. So we know that all those factors are there, and we need to do an analysis. And also, we wonder many times if data tells the full story about marginalized people, about colonial stories, and what gets codified into data. I invite you to review later this paper, this article by our colleague Mari on Wikidata, and the question of why we contribute to the robot epistemology. And I will clarify a little bit later more about this, about what we speak about robots and epistemology and all of this. Essentially, I don't know if you are familiar with Wikidata, which is this, I don't know if you're familiar with this logo and if you have ever visited Wikidata before, but Wikidata is another Wikimedia project, just like Wikipedia and Wikimedia Commons, and it's an enormous database, and it's structured data. Which means that the data is storage in a very structured way. I will explain more in a minute. And it's also linked, so you can navigate the data, you can make queries over the data, and you can understand many issues, many topics, and also stories through data. It's a project which is collaborative, and it is a project that it makes the content readable for humans, for all of us, but also for by machines. And that's today this is a critical thing. Because these systems like Wikidata, Wikimedia Commons, even Wikipedia, we know that even though we created this collaboratively, these projects to benefit people, to democratize knowledge, to open knowledge for everyone, it is also a space in which AI models are trained, for instance. And as Sunshine said before, the risk is to amplify the biases on Wikipedia, Wikimedia Commons, Wikidata, and other wiki projects into or through AI models and AI services like generative AI, for instance. And the risk is to create a feedback loop where, as this you can see in this quote, where dominant narratives are amplified. And the marginalized perspective are silenced or ignored just because the training content is super biased and it has a lot of gaps. And this is an issue of epistemic injustice. So I invite you also to read this article about this topic, because it's very, very interesting and and it's a reflection on how the technology the world today is like fascinated with. It is also, it has also a legacy of injustice, colonization, and that continue through these systems. So the Wikimedia projects, for now, AI is not central or core to any Wikimedia projects. Wikimedia Foundation is doing some work around AI that maybe can help the projects to as tools for editors and for the public. But what we do is work with structured data on Wikidata, on Wikimedia Commons, and in other projects. What's structured data? You can find online unstructured data, semi-structured data, and also structured data, which are pieces of information organized in such a way that under specific standards that can be easily read, understood, and processed by humans and machines. And countless apps, tools, and platforms are built based in structured data, like, as I said before, Wikidata, but also movie reviews, maps, AI assistants. To have the data structured in a useful way for processing is very important for developers of those different tools. And at the end, this structured data is at the core of how the internet works today. Even though you don't, as a user, directly experiment structured data or work with the structured data, if the data is structured in this way, you will, using these tools, you will benefit from the data, but also, as I said before, maybe we don't notice all the biases or the knowledge absences in the data. Let me just introduce you a little bit on what is structured data in the context of Wikidata. Wikidata, as I said before, is a wiki platform which make it open and collaborative, and in which way the knowledge on Wikidata is structured. And this is an example. If you read this sentence, which is a sentence you can find in the Wikipedia article of Nigerian writer Amos Tutuola, you can say this. You can say that Amos Tutuola was a Nigerian writer, author of the palm wine drink card. And this information that you can read on Wikipedia is also structured in Wikidata in this way. You can, as the different part of the sentence is associated with an alphanumeric code. And for instance, Amos it has a specific code. The Q1, A2, etc., under the property of given names. And this is another code. P735 is another code. And these codes connect the concept of given name to the given name of Amos Tutuola. And because everything is codified. That's why it's easy for machines to understand metaphorically speaking, understand and process this information. Also, writer has its code under the property of occupation. All countries can be countries of citizenship, and Nigeria is a specific item on Wikidata, and also the book, the palm wine drink card. And if you navigate Wikidata, you will find a data description, step by step, very detailed in these terms for every item on Wikidata. Who creates these items? Everyone. If you just log in to Wikidata, you can create items like this. And also you can even import data from systems like library catalogs and other databases that are in certain way compatible with this system. And the another very important thing is that once you have knowledge in this way, you can make queries, and queries are questions about the knowledge in the database using a specific language called Sparkle. I won't go in detail about this right now, but it is a way in which you can have, let's say, a list of books written by Nigerian women, for instance, organized by type of work. What works are poetry or narrative or essays. So it's very useful for exploring knowledge and see patterns in knowledge, and also explore some gaps. And what this has to do with images. Once you have a big database of images and a big database of more conceptual knowledge, as in Wikidata, you can connect these concepts, these items, with what you can see in an image. In certain way, it's like a tagging work, right? And it's great because it's also multilingual. It's a multilingual system, and people can connect the same concept, let's say computer, with different images in different languages. And as you can see in these examples, because Wikidata is a very big database with a very general purpose, anything can be there, from books to computer to protest to historical facts, and you can connect that with the images that correspond with those concepts. And that makes images much more powerful, because images are connected with data, and that data that can be processed by machines. And for instance, a very practical use of this system is, for instance, the improvement of images search tools. And now, if you go to Wikimedia Commons and if you do a search for images, it's much more accurate, much more useful for users, because they can retrieve more relevant images. Just because the images are correctly, or most of them are tagged in this way. And we will see in a minute how this system works practically in practice. So this is an image, a photo of Sarah Maldoror, a Caribbean filmmaker This is an image that we brought to Wikimedia Commons and to Wikipedia, the Wikipedia article about Sarah in the Visible Wiki Women campaign a couple of years ago. And I want to show you, and I will just visit the image online. Can you see the Wikimedia Commons page? I hope so. So this is how an image looks like on Wikimedia Commons. The image, as I said before, is being used on Wikipedia and in many Wikipedias. Just let me show you the English Wikipedia. You can read her biography, and even you have some data here. And the picture is here because a photographer just donated the copyright of the image, so we can use it on Wikimedia Commons and Wikipedia. And as you can see, the image is not alone, and it's not only an image. Here we have this structured data around the image, also data about the licensing, even metadata about the camera and other technical aspects. And the usage of the image in different Wikimedia projects. But the structured data section is the one that is in our focus now. And it's a collaborative section. People can input data here. And you can, for instance, add captions of the images in different languages. And also you can connect the image with different Wikidata items in the way I was speaking before. If in the image the portrayed person is Sarah Maldoror, you can connect Sarah. So the system knows now that this image represents a portrait, it depicts Sarah Maldoror, and also other elements like there is a microphone, there are glasses, this is a filmmaker and a speaker person. And all of this can be done by contributors, people that just want to enrich and make the image more nuanced, more easy to understand, and more easy to find. Let me just show you how this image is connected with Wikidata. You can click and see that Sarah Maldoror also exists on Wikidata in a data type of description. So you can see not a narrative article like Wikipedia, but you can see that this item is about a human, there is an image, this human is female from France, and many other data items. This structured data, as I said before, normally is inputted by people just by typing here and by just identifying different potential items to connect with the image. An interesting thing think of this image, it is that previously, a couple of years ago, it was also described by an automated system that for a couple of years was in place in Wikimedia Commons to make this work on structuring the knowledge automated, made by machine with through an agreement with between Wikimedia Foundation and Google. So Google provided the an automated tagging system that was tested on Wikimedia Commons, and the machine, this system matched images with concepts automatically, and then people did the review. And we found many glitches in this process. And for instance, in this particular image, she was tagged as a singer because a woman, especially a Black woman with a microphone, oftentimes it can be read by automated systems like a singer. And in this case, she was, and this is something that doesn't happen so often with white women or with men, for instance. Because as you know, the machine learning and AI technologies are statistics machines at the end, and that's why they reproduce many of the biases in the data they are training. Can you see my slides now? Just checking the transition between. Okay, so on Visible Wiki Women, because we know that this data is important, is just it can be very biased, even it can be created by machines or just edited by editors with not training in gender issues, or that are not especially careful, or even that they can be vandalized. We understand that it's very important to also keep an eye and invite Wikimedia editors to also provide structured data on commons. This is, in this other example, this is an image created by Sunshine, in this case. Sunshine, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the story of this image?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is George, I think their name is George Kwizzy, and they are a non-binary makeup artist from Uganda. I took this picture in Botswana, actually, at a queer gathering of African queer activists and organizers. And one of the things that they had wanted to highlight was the fact that well, they were running this campaign called "Excuse My Beauty," and that hence the name of the image. That was just really about like pushing boundaries of makeup and beauty standards, and who gets to dress up, especially within like the context of Uganda, which is a very homophobic country. And they were really trying to be very expressive with their clothes, with their makeup, and they wanted their picture on Commons. Funny, not funny story about that whole experience of taking images, because there are a number of images from this gathering that we took for the campaign. Was when I came back home, Uganda, this was 2023, then Uganda passed the anti-homosexuality law. And we had to go back to some of the Ugandan LGBTI persons whose images we had taken to ask how they wanted to be identified, or if they wanted their images shared on Wikimedia Commons at all, just for their own safety and security. And they were one of the people who said, it's okay, just share my picture, add information about the fact that I'm a non-binary makeup artist who is pushing standards of beauty. And I thought that was really amazing that they did that. So yeah, that's the story of that picture. Yeah.
This story is important because many times we don't see only with the image the story behind and what happened and how this image made her way to Wikimedia Commons. Let me show you the image on Commons. And one some things you can see here is that people added structured data in form of captions. Someone described the image in English, maybe that was sunshine. Someone added the captions in Spanish using inclusive language, which is in Spanish is very polemic in this moment, and it's very interesting, and also in German. And if you go to see what is depicted in the image, in this case, we don't have any Wikidata item connected with the image. It's a work still yet to do. It's open for someone to just come and try to find if there is any item about the portrayed person. I think they are not on Wikidata, for instance. They don't exist yet on Wikidata. And also you could add like a photo booth, for instance, because a photo booth exists in this picture. And you can continue describing the image in terms of data. But images like this that don't have enough descriptions, or the descriptions are in just few languages, or the descriptions are incomplete or biased, are the norm on Wikimedia Commons, especially for the same marginalized folks that we want to make visible through the Visible Wikiwomen campaign. So these systems is made, but for people to easily do this work. But at the same time, there are a few guidelines on how to do it safe, inclusive, with all the nuances that are required to understand all the nuances in an image, and that's why we speak about data narratives, because on Visible Wikiwomen we want to foster these plural narratives for images. So I think it's time for a break, because this has been a lot, but we want to hear from you if you have questions, comments, because maybe some of this information is new for you, and it can be complex. So please, if you have questions, this is the moment.
Hi there, this is Nick. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Nick.
Okay, great. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for so much really interesting information and for the project itself. It sounds amazing. I guess I have loads of questions on the practical side, like, you know, there's this question of how data gets used when it's up in the media commons and who gives their consent to how it's used. You've talked about Google using, you know, automated tools on data, and I find that interesting. So, but people have their own, some projects that I'm involved with have their own databases. So they store their own databases online, SQL databases like Omeka and things like that. So there's a project called Queer Heritage South that does a similar idea of writing their own stories and documenting them and having those archived. And I think there's a question there because it's public information, it's available on the internet, it can be used for training because people just do, I guess they just trawl the internet for training. Do you know of where we are in that, I suppose you could call it a fight for sovereignty over data, whether there exists tools or efforts to progress rights with regards to that question? And I'm also thinking about interoperability between like private databases like that and the Wikimedia Commons, that and any interoperability that would respect, I guess, our sovereignty over data. Sorry, that's a whole lot of questions. Maybe you can pick just one if you like.
Thank you, Nick. Both questions are very important and interesting, and we could speak about this for a long time. But let me try to answer shortly, but more or less clearly. Actually, in terms of consent and privacy, we are in the midst of this discussion, or we from Whose Knowledge, we are trying to bring these discussions to not only us, but with other groups and activists in the Wikiverse. We are trying to bring this discussion and create awareness and guidelines on how to be respectful, especially with personality rights. One good thing of Wikimedia projects is like you cannot write an article or create a Wikidata item based in your own primarily research or in your own ideas or thoughts or impressions or perceptions. You need to use other sources, public sources of information, and reliable sources and checked sources of information. So in a way, this make the information safer in terms of we are not discussing my perception and your perception about a person. We are bringing information from other researchers, interviews, online profiles, even the biographies made by published in books, published in websites. The downside of it is that for marginalized folks, these sources of information sometimes are super neglected, are not available, don't exist online, easily findable, or are hidden, are denied in many ways. So sometimes it's a struggle just to make these people, these persons, our communities visible on wiki projects. But at the same time, we need to be really careful about not doxing people in Wikimedia projects, because it's not about personal private information or representations that at the taste of the person that is writing the Wikipedia article or making the picture or the Wikidata item. It should be based in public information, and we cannot just reveal any, or for instance, we cannot misgender someone. And that's a struggle, actually. And we need to be super respectful of personality rights and image rights. And at some extent, it's not easy to control or monitoring what all Wikimedia editors are doing, but we can bring these discussions. We can work with the community of editors to try to be respectful and center the narratives of marginalized communities, and in the acknowledging that the information that it is online about Indigenous women, Black communities, genderqueer people is sometimes very misrepresented because power dynamics, colonial biases, and so on. So we are trying to make these discussions in the Wikimedia community. And with regard of how more private or community-led knowledge systems, and at what extent they are compatible or can be connected or not connected with these wiki systems. I think that this is another part of the discussion we want to bring, and for instance, and just let me give you an example, the same technology that you can use for, that is used in Wikidata, it can be used to create a private wiki base, and you can create your own ontologies, your own properties, your own system of description and categorization, using the same software but with your own perspective, and you can decide how is connected with Wikidata and how, at what extent they follow the same or different standards. So there can be intersections of data in which some part of the data can remain more under the control of a given community, and that community can share specific parts of that information, and even they can bring some things from Wikidata also. So we see this as more as a federated system based in agreements rather than just flowing data without any, without any justice perspective. We try to foster this kind of data sovereignty perspectives, and also in dialogue with free and open knowledge.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other question?
Maybe
Could I ask,
reflection. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
could I ask a question? It's Birgul here. Thank you very much for both of you, and it was brilliant. And I think what you're doing and your project is fascinating, and this epistemic justice and the kind of digital justice aspect of it, I'm really interested. Some of the work that you're doing to bring these invisibilized bodies and the peoples and the histories and make them visible, and their knowledges, therefore their wisdoms, and what comes with that. And I think it's really important. I just wanted to maybe ask a question, or what I was just thinking, kind of really how that or the process of visibilizing these knowledges and bodies and people through data and through, you know, Wikipedia projects actually have impacted their justice, social and political justice, to what extent it's impacted on their person rights, kind of not in the kind of digital life, but I'm talking about in real life. So what is the effect of that, and how this affected their lives in different ways, and whether they're really ontological visualizations has changed dramatically. And I just wanted to really maybe kind of questions this relationship between both the digital world and kind of so-called real world, and what is the tension emerging in that, and some of the possibilities as well. So what does it tell us, your kind of, you know, from 2018 to 24, what can we learn from this? What does it tell in terms of the relationship between these two, and what impact has made on the people's real life? Thank you.
Okay, I could start, and maybe Mariana could add. That's a brilliant question. I think our continuous reflection for the campaign is to think about like what our contribution is, not just like numerically in terms of like the images, but also just in terms of if we are changing any ways in which our stories and our data shows up or they are told online. And I think the key thing for us is to understand that inherently digital platforms, Wikipedia included, is not designed, or the internet in general is not designed with us in mind. And by us, I mean minoritized communities from everywhere, depending on your level of privilege, or where you're placed in terms of power. And also thinking about like the farther you are from the center of power, the more invisible you are. And we contend with that question to also say that we understand that there is visibilization is both, can be a form of resistance, but also anonymity for many people is also survival. And so we have many more questions than we have answers, but we try to see our contribution as part of growing or contributing to knowledge justice, because knowledge as it exists currently is very skewed towards a certain white supremacist, heteronormative, capitalist, group of people. And we try to contribute towards making it more equitable. And that also comes at a cost. Again, sometimes visibility can be weaponized. Within our campaign, we try to do consent in a way that we share like what our consent practices and what it means for people, for your data to exist within open knowledge, and what that can do for you, can do for and against you. And also consistently check for people who have like requests for like speedy deletions, and like when you want your information taken down, for us to work closely, especially with people who have the kind of power to delete articles or images quickly. But I don't think like ultimately we are what we're trying to do is epistemic justice within a system that's already skewed. And so I think there are more questions for us than there are answers, but we try to think about it as just like a contribution and also like a building of community. Last year we did, the year before that, in 2023, we partnered with Soweto Pride, which is a Black queer, Black women-led queer pride protest march in South Africa that was not existing on Wikipedia, because in South Africa inherently pride marches are very white, very male, and so the invisibility within also the community as well. And we're seeing, you know, for us it's the stories from that, the fact that they got to document the pride march for the first time since they had started, I think 9 years since they had started doing that. And also just sitting last year with a group of queer folks as well from in Johannesburg, who had written these articles about different queer narratives in Africa, from personalities to queer cultures to different aspects of queerness on the continent, and trying to bring those articles on Wikipedia. I think it's seeing that the communities feel like this is important work, and for us contributes to that epistemic justice in that way. Also knowing that there are only like 3 men who own white men who own all the digital platforms. So it is a very what is the thing called? It's a thing of questioning, reflecting, interrogating, and also trying to contribute in a already skewed space. I hope that answers your question, or at least
it has. Thank you very
re-echoes
much.
some of your fears. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
We are supposed to be going on a break. Maybe a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back. We just have a quick exercise that we want all of us to participate in. Please don't go away. Just come back after 5 minutes. We'll see you. Okay. Amiga, do you want to lead us through our quick exercise?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will share my screen. And also, maybe the Sunshine, can you put the link in the chat for the exercise? So, welcome everybody from the break. The idea is to work on a practice and reflection exercise about what does the machine read about your photos, about our photos. This exercise, in this first part of the exercise, we will use a tool, actually a campaign called They See Your Photos. A campaign that impacted us a lot because it's a way in which you can see how technologies like the Google API can be used to generate automated descriptions based in computer vision, which is one of the different technologies we put under the umbrella of AI today, and see the problem from the other side, not from the side of Wikimedia Commons and human descriptions and classification of images, but from the machine perspective, and what this perspective creates, and what this machine image reading is very accurate, as we will see in a minute, but also very problematic in many ways. But the idea is for you to experiment this. This platform, which is, as I said, an awareness campaign about Google Vision App API, is about how much information can be inferred about a person or about anything from just a single picture, a single photo. So I invite you to just follow the link if you have it available in the chat already. And just upload a picture here. Maybe let's try to, to not expose other people, especially living people here. But, any picture you have at hand in your computer or your phone, and check what the machine can reveal or how the machine analyze and describe automatically this image. I can use a visible Wiki Women example. Maybe the same picture of Sarah Maldoror, because Sarah is sadly is not living right now, and is image that is already publicly available on online, so I am not using a private image, and see what the description is using the Google API vision. And I will read the description. In a second, we have this. The image shows an elderly woman, possibly in her 70s or 80s, speaking into a microphone. She appears to be giving a speech or participating in a public event. The background features a dark red curtain, suggesting a theater or auditorium setting. The setting could be in Uruguay. This is funny. I don't know if my computer or the metadata of my computer has something to do with this. But as you can see, this system is really accurate. I think that Google probably has improved a lot because it says that it is a person speaking, a speaker person, not a singer or something different. The woman appears to be of a black race. Her income is likely modest. She seems to follow Christianity. Her political affiliation is likely to be left-leaning. Her emotional state suggests seriousness and focus. Her clothing consists of a red knitted shawl and a purple long-sleeved shirt. Her hobbies might include reading, storytelling, and community activism. She might also have some less healthy habits like excessive gossiping, smoking, overeating, and watching too many soap operas. All of this inferred from a single image. Elderly women seem to be highly engaged in social and political issues. They are a receptive audience for products related to health, community engagement, and cultural events. We can target them with niche cultural products and broader wellness services, such as subscriptions to local newspapers, books by local authors, tickets to community events, and membership to local senior centers. All of this, it is because, of course, the Google API vision is a marketing tool. It's a tool for advertisers, right? So the first observation we can do here is that the commercial purpose of the tool is behind all these inferences, not others, but these inferences about her potential behavior as a consumer, her the demographics that potentially can be a way of classifying a person. And in the data tab, there is more structured description in terms of data, and less narrative, more structured, including hobbies, political affiliation, targets ads, and this is, we invite you to see the difference with the work we are trying to do with the structured data on Commons and the intervention of editors trying to understand images. And of course, to have good descriptions, an accurate description of image in an automated way, it can, of course, it can be useful, for instance, for accessibility, right? And for making the accessibility work easier. If you try this same exercise with Gemini or OpenAI or other AI apps, maybe you can find something less disturbing than this one, and pretty useful. So this, the invitation is to think in the problem, how problematic this is, but also at the same time, it's true that these technologies are or can be useful in many ways at the same time. And the invitation is for you to just try it out and reflect a little bit on what do you think about the results. Just take, a couple of minutes to do it and test it, and then we will go to the next step of the exercise. I can see in the chat comments about the neutral tone, but also how normative this app can be. The income range of a dog. The dog preferences. Wow. Exactly. Yes. Yes. The interest regards police state. I mean, this is also very disturbing in terms of surveillance.
I mean, it's really interesting in terms of the kind of like political affiliations that it assumes and the religious affiliations that it assumes.
Yeah, I've put two pictures up and it's given different political affiliations for them, which I found really interesting. The one where I'm wearing something where I've got my glad rags on, I thought it would be interesting to contrast pictures. Got one where I'm looking kind of casual into the camera, and one where I've got like I'm dressed up to go out and very neatly and in clothes for looking formal and nice. And it's obvious it's assigned different political affiliations and characters to me.
Interesting. So let's move to the next part of the exercise. And see, the idea is to compare this experience of automated descriptions and tagging with when you as humans are in front of a collaborative system like Wikimedia platforms. And this time you will be the who will judge and try and discern the image in front of you on Wikimedia Commons. And the invitation is to go to the link. This link is a subset of images into within Wikimedia Commons and within Visible Wiki Women campaign. And in this category of images, we collect the images we took in our photo booth. As part of the campaign, when we travel to events and gatherings and conferences, we try to document women and non-binary people, and have nice pictures of them, and with consent, make the photos public on Wikimedia Commons. So you can navigate different events in which we have presence, and you can go to the image and see the structured data. This is Alice, a colleague of us, an Ugandan librarian and Wikipedian. And these captions and descriptions were made by editors, by Wikipedia contributors. And in the structured data session, we were able to connect Alice, the photo of Alice with her Wikidata item. And I could find other items connect with Alice, like librarian, for instance, and click here and add librarian, which is a Wikidata item to the picture, because this is her profession. And once I did that, I can publish the edit. As you can see, I am not logged to Wikimedia Commons, but I could. I have a user. I don't know if you have a Wikipedia user or Wikimedia platform user. You can do it. It's not necessarily to log in. It's something good if you have a user. You can do it, or you can create an account, but maybe that will take you a little more time. But yes, the idea is for you to navigate some of these pictures and try to connect Wikidata items, or include descriptions or captions. If you want to add a caption, you can edit here and add a caption in other languages. Captions are short sentences about a person, and you can try to do it and think on, this is public information, this is for everyone. What facts, what perceptions what stories are we bringing when we do this, and when we describe and caption and structure and bring structured data over images. For instance, I am doing this with Ira, and just publish the changes in Spanish. So that's the invitation. Try to do that. Don't worry too much about it. If all the interventions can be changed if you change your mind, or if other editor thinks that it's better to make some changes. That's the collaborative nature of this platform. But yes, the invitation is to do this with some level of reflexivity, so you can think on that data narratives made collaboratively. And let's take 5 minutes to try. Well, let's see how it went. Did you were able to practice a little bit? It was easy, it was hard.
Maybe we can share the link to the reflection.
Yes, let's do that. So for the feedback of this exercise, we have a Mentimeter. So we can together share our first impressions, and then we can move to the conversation by voice about what happened here in both, taking in mind both exercise, they see your photos and the structured data on commons exercise. I am struggling a little bit with showing the results. Sunshine, I think. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. We can see. Okay. Disturbed, amazed, scared, interested to know how the Google API profiles are used beyond targeted ads. Scary, but also gives me hope that we do have some control over data. Interested to know how the Google API profiles compare with those used around the world of other states. Does anyone want to share by voice your reflections or questions also? Yes, Sharon, do you want to share?
Yeah, I was just gonna, so I just kind of started reflecting on the first task, and obviously I put some, various photos in, and I put it in the chat that I put, my dog was in it. But what I found quite telling about the response to that was, yes, it couldn't read, what job it had, but at the very end it said, you know, we can't find information. Sorry, it wasn't the dog. Sorry, I just put like it's a picture of the sea. So it said no information is available for developing targeted ads. We cannot create manipulative advertisements, which I thought was a quite telling word that it used itself. Like, so regardless of how it's reading any of the photos, the site, we cannot create manipulative advertisements was what it said when it couldn't create them. So it's kind of interesting, the kind of that's exactly what it's doing. It's manipulating, it's reviewing these photos for a purpose. And I think the kind of inherent bias in them that, there's a particular profile of someone who is Christian, there's a particular profile of someone who is left-leaning or centrist. And what I also found interesting, Marina, the picture that you had used of Sarah Sarah Maldoro. I put that in as well, and then the kind of like what you had gotten and what I'd gotten for the same photo was quite different, you know. So again, it's kind of contextually, it's reading it in a particular context. So yeah, so being manipulated is what's happening. But yeah.
I used a picture of Mariana that's already from one of our photo booths in 2022. And I got information about her name. It said like, this is Mariana Fossatti. I think obviously because I guess they track information. They also say like Mariana is Christian and all of those things. But the thing that caught my attention the most is that Mariana is meticulous and detail oriented and can be targeted for tools and courses, writing tools, courses like Coursera, Grammarly, and Notion. And I was like, yeah, that's creepy. So I think it's really interesting what the internet already knows about us. Okay. I think we have come almost to the end of our
I have to say,
workshop today.
I was deeply offended by what it came back to me. So centrist.
Yeah.
Quality view, is it because I'm blonde? I don't know. Prone to buy expensive goods. I mean, it was really interesting to see how the machine sees me, I suppose. You know, prone to gossip. What is that coming from?
Yeah.
The prone to gossip thing. You know, that kind of judgment, prone to gossip because he's blonde.
Yeah.
Got a, you know, furniture. I was in the pub in that picture as well. It wasn't even my home. Yeah, it was. I found it fascinating. I'm really kind of, yeah, offended, gobsmacked, all of those things.
I think that judgment thing is so,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it's doing. It's
The judgment thing of
judgment.
gossip.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you get that from? From an image, you know?
Yeah. Well, we had the same. I put an image in of, we could talk about this all day. Sorry, I know.
Yes, sorry.
And
Yeah.
I put an image of me and my wife, and it said, you know, their emotions project contentment and relaxation, possibly influenced by alcohol consumption. It's just like, yeah.
I wanted to jump in very quickly on the Wikimedia thing. I've put the same note that I'm about to say here, but I think like when you think about editing Wikimedia things and adding captions, it does look a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a point to make, but also that I appreciate this type of space where we have a little bit of a look into how to do that, because it's I don't know how much prep work you guys did to do this, but you know, it's like it's a handy thing for me to now. I know more or less. I have a good foothold into what I do and how I talk to somebody about doing that. So I appreciate that from both angles. One, it looks hard, and two, well, actually, I've had some explanation, and now it's less.
Yeah. I mean, I think just even kind of going into the curated collection that Whose Knowledge have created, I felt I was kind of like, is this my place to kind of put in a caption, you know? So kind of, you know, the kind of things that we had been talking about earlier on in terms of like trust within community. So, you know, I'm part of Queer Heritage South, and you know, we write metadata descriptions together, and it's again, it's kind of that same act of kind of like, you know, trust within a community and the kind of care for the individuals and care for content, which is a distinct kind of like when you compare it to what Google API is doing, the kind of the community cultural notions and what's the word, protocols. I think, you know, when you kind of put them side by side, it's just quite stark, isn't it?
Yes, and one thing that maybe is not in the digital world is not so visible is that in the physical space, when we were taking the pictures and we collect the consent, our consent form is not only a binary yes or not, but also includes, for instance, a section in which people can write up in how they want to be described.
Yeah.
So many of the descriptions come from information provided and perspective provided by the portrayed person, themselves. So it was made over a piece of paper, and then we transcribe it. So every time we do this, we do a photo booth. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a whole process, and it's funny to compare it with an automated system in that way, because in an automated system you have the temptation to say, "Oh, automation, this is so cool. We can have a lot of information at once, just in a second." But as you described it, also the experience as intimidating, scare, of even offensive, right? So that's why even when we have more and more I wouldn't say accurate, but more and more sophisticated systems of automated images descriptions, we still need collaboration, agreement in community, consent. All of that is something inescapable, something important to center, even though sometimes machine assistance can be interesting or nice to have. And that's also why the Wikimedia project on automated tagging was tested and dismantled, because we, and not only Sunshine and I, but many friends and collaborators on Wikimedia projects, they observe this kind of disturbing tagging in images that it has nothing to do with the Wikimedia project's aim, to expose inferences of preferences or style of the person, of even if the person is beauty or not beauty, all of that, it was really disturbing, and it was implemented massively in this test. That's why the project was at the end dismantled, and for now there are no plans to bring it once again. And well, that's the story about this intersection between human work and machine collaboration on images on Wikimedia Commons, and we hope you want to continue, reflecting on this. But now I want to invite Sunshine to wrap up around the Visible Wiki Women campaign, and how can you collaborate and join us if after this experience you feel interested on it.
Yeah. So really, first of all, thank you. Thank you to the Digital Humanities Lab. Thank you to Sharon and Jan and everybody for inviting us, and all of you for joining us. Many apologies for the violence of Zoom insecurities. It was our pleasure to be able to teach with you and share with you and learn with you. This is our campaign over the years. This is a timeline. We've had many themes. Every year we have a different theme. We'll share information about our theme for this year. Closer to the launch in April. Last year we're doing our theme on our resistance is plural, feminist liberation, solidarity, liberation, and peace. Really taking images of feminists everywhere doing all the incredible work of organizing. and all the other themes are there throughout the years. When you go to Wikimedia Commons, you'll be able to see these themes in categories, so you can see the different images across the years that we've done them. And how you can join us. We're always looking for people who want to join us. You can cover and attend events in your communities where photos can be taken and upload them. We have an upload wizard, so you just literally click on the wizard and it takes you straight to the upload to the campaign page. We have a consent tool that we will share as well. You can install a photo booth. We love a photo booth. It's a lot of work, but we love it. At conferences, at small and big gatherings, because people like to come to a nice corner and chat about other things that are not panels and papers and stuff. So, and take pictures and take stories. If you have pictures that you have the licenses for, you can release and share them with us under free license. Create illustrations. We are also in the business of creating illustrations, not just images. We are exploring multimodal ways of doing storytelling. So illustrations is another way. And then, yeah, organize. We have support for community organizers. You can organize an event with us. You don't even have to invite us also. You can just organize something. We've done a couple of like editathons just to see it and edit Wikipedia and add images. That's also a fun way of doing it. And then just promote, spread the word, visible wiki women, women of colors, body plurality. And yeah, stay in touch. We are at Whose Knowledge on all platforms. And also our emails and resources we're going to share with Gianna and Sharon, and they can pass them to everybody who joined. And yeah, stay in touch. Asante, gracias, thank you, Vale. And you're welcome to join us at all our events in the future. So thank you so much for indulging us. Bye.
Thank you so much, Sunshine and Mariana. And thank you for persevering through the Zoom challenges.